Hi, it's Artie from Brown Bear Herbs. This video is about sexy smokes and how it can be helpful for easing some of the troubles associated with sexual trauma and making your life more enjoyable. It does contain some information about sexual trauma and references to it. Sexy smokes was blended to make help you switch modes into sexy time. Like say you've been working all week and you're ready to go out and feel more of those types of feelings and just like in that persona instead of your like mom mode or like work mode or whatever else you got going on. Because Damiana, which is the main ingredient in that, is traditionally used as an aphrodisiac and to help with a variety of sexual problems. So it's both used just for pleasure enhancement and for lots of issues. Like for men, it's been historically used for premature ejaculation, and for women, just like helping you. It was traditionally used to help women on their wedding nights to get ready to consummate that marriage. And but I wanted to add in some more herbs to help with trauma, because I would get a lot of people coming to me and talking to me and saying, I want something that's going to make me have more sex so that my boyfriend's happy, or something like that, where it felt like, oh boy, I want this person to have as much sexy, sensual, fun time as they want, but I also want to address like this kind of underlying things that might be going on, so that they can decide on their own and feel good on their own without worrying about just taking something that's just going to amp up their sexual feelings so that somebody outside of them is going to be happier. So I've added in hibiscus and blackberry and rose, and then always have mullein in there for your lungs. So I would say the most specific towards helping with trauma is hibiscus, and then I'll explain that, and then I want to explain to you a little bit how I see Damiana and blackberry working, because they have some similar properties. Even though I don't think most people would think of blackberry in that way, I certainly think it's a fabulous addition to this blend. So hibiscus is that huge red flower that you see a lot of like Hawaiian pictures show like the hibiscus flower, and it is really helpful for clearing out trauma residue, and it could be other than sexual trauma, but often it's helpful for sexual trauma from the first and second chakras. So the first chakra is associated with survival needs, like having enough food, having shelter, stuff like that. If you've had a life where you've always had those things, then you probably have a real sense of security, and it's easy for you to feel grounded. You've not had that threatened. If you have a significant trauma, especially one where you feel like your life is at risk, you might have some fears around survival and some problems with your first chakra. So hibiscus helps to kind of like bring in so much life that you kind of like forget or release some of those fears, because you're just experiencing so much of like a rich, grounded life force. And then the second chakra is associated with desire and sexuality and sensuality, feelings, and like wanting. So like, when you were little, if you were able to say, I want this, and people gave it to you, then you might have like a pretty healthy sense of that second chakra energy. Like, if I want something, I can get it. But if instead you said, I want something, and people try to make you feel bad for wanting something, like, oh, you want that toy, like you're so bad, like you shouldn't have that, you shouldn't have anything special, you don't deserve it. That's like shame is the other side of the second chakra. So a lot of people experience a lot of shame around sexual abuse, and That shame, I feel like, is entirely a projection from the person who did the abusing, and nothing we need to own, but it's something that just really commonly comes up. And so even though I feel like you don't need to feel that way, I'm going to offer you hibiscus so that you can hopefully clear some of that out and realize that you have a right to want and feel sexual, even if you had somebody put some real serious head trips. A lot of times it can be like the person who has hurt you. It can also be people that found out about it afterwards that gave you a hard time and tried to blame you for what happened. That's so common. Guess whose fault it is if someone rapes you? The rapist. Okay, that's always the case. So sometimes we might feel like it's a good idea to change our behaviors so that it's less likely that we be assaulted or traumatized in that way. And that's fine, but that doesn't make it our fault that it happened because we were doing those behaviors or dressing however we're dressing or talking to whoever we're talking to. So hibiscus is just like a burst of fresh energy in that area. And it is just like, gosh, it just feels like, I just see it as kind of like all those organs down there just being like bursting full of life and energy, and real reddish, deep pinks coming in through that too. So it helps release pent up creative passion, sexual energy, creative energy. So that could even be like, if that like trauma or anything else is like impeding your creative flow, you could have more like creative time too, and feel more access to that energy. And but also like passion and sexuality, just like letting that free. It's yours. It's your right to experience that. It's definitely a balm for long held sexual trauma. It's just like breath of fresh air, along with like all that, like it feels like, like an explosion of life energy in that area. And so that really brings people into their hips. So hibiscus is one of the herbs in this blend that's helping you get into your hips. And most people, even if people don't always experience aphrodisiac properties from sexy smokes. Some people experience a mild marijuana-like buzz. It's a legal herb though, so it's not going to be too crazy. And most people report feeling more grounded and confident. So it's very stabilizing. It's a very stabilizing mixture of herbs. But I just do want to warn you that some people experience the aphrodisiac property a lot. So just try it out in your safe environment so that you can see how it's working for you. And also, if you have a hormonal cycle, it's going to affect you differently at different times of the cycle. So feel into that. And that can be an interesting experience. Like, how do I feel before taking it? What are my hormones like? What is the outcome? And then like on a different day, you can even take a quick journal entries about it. And that could be helpful to understand like how those herbs are affecting you. So then blackberry leaf is another really grounding herb. It's a herb that I think of as being really helpful for people who are like way too much in their head. And that can be a response to trauma. So you're not having a good time in your body. So you go up in your head, and a lot of times people are really smart, choose that as an option. So your head's doing great for you. You try to hang out up there, and you're going to enjoy having a whole body. So one tool that you can use to enjoy having your whole body is Blackberry and Damiana, because I feel like Damiana also is just like bringing you into your pelvis and all that juicy stuff down there. So I feel like the combination of the hibiscus and the Damiana is to get you out of your head into your pelvis with the help from a hibiscus, and really feel like you're in the moment and grounded. And the colors, like when I do plant meditations with the herb, I just get these like super rich, like magentas and deep purples, and in my pelvic area. So like that energy is going to that area. It's just so beautiful and fun. I would say Blackberry also, if you have a tendency to be like very pessimistic and dark in your thinking, and that can be a really common side effect of having had bad experiences. Depending on the circumstances, you might feel like it's unlikely that you would have future experiences that are positive. And I would like to remind you, in case you, or maybe you've never heard this before, but Sexy Smokes is a great social smoke, like if you're going out, because it does have a tendency to make you feel more confident and more grounded. And then it's got the rose in there to help you make decisions with your heart involved. And obviously it's great in a partner situation, but I would say it's really fun on your own. So if you're quarantining and you want to work through some of your trauma issues, I would say try some Sexy Smokes and see how that goes. You can definitely take it as a tea, but I would say from my own experience and looking at historical use, the smoking Damiana gives a stronger effect than drinking it. But you can experiment, and people are sensitive in different ways. But that's how I've been finding it's the most helpful. I've tried it in a lot of other products because I have to do this herbal research. So fun. You can do herbal research too. And if you share it with me, I will be delighted. But yeah, so you can definitely take it for fun, solo, and have some nice quality time in your miniature bubble or whatever you are doing. And you can use it to help just like see if you can observe if that's the type of thing that will help you clear through some of your trauma stuff before you interact with other people with it. And I would say, for me personally, this blend, sometimes it makes me feel really excited and like ready for action. And other times it just helps me go from being like, leave me the F alone, I don't want to be near anybody, to being like, a cuddle would be nice right now. So I would say in general, whether it's making me feel really sexual or inclined in that way or more cuddly, it's making it feel better to be in my body and having contact with other people. And then the heart herb rose is helping me remember that it's not just about body feels, it's also about that heart. And so keeping that, healing the heart, but also using that rose wisdom to guide your decision making. I hope you enjoy Sexy Smokes. I'd love to hear your experiences if you feel like sharing. It's also a blend that's fun to mix with CBD. And I'm pretty sure that like almost everybody's tried this blend loves it. So I hope you do too. Have a great day. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications.